Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be how to stand out in a crowd after the age of 40. I have been seeing a lot of articles and I've just heard a lot of women express the feelings that we as aging women, especially those of us over the age of 40, that we just start to become invisible, or that we start to, disappear into the background, or we're overlooked, or we're dismissed and stuff like that. So I decided to start Googling some stuff to try to figure out ways that we as women, we as aging women, can continue to stand out in a crowd. So some of the things that I'm going to be sharing with you today are, some of them are a little bit obvious, whenever you go to the mall or a grocery store or an airport, places that are really crowded. There are certain qualities about people that really make them kind of stand out to you, to everyone. And so I'm going to be sharing with you some of those. Some of them are really obvious and some of them were not so obvious. So anyway, I am just the messenger. I am just going to be sharing with you the things that kept coming up over and over. So please don't hold it against me. Please don't, if you're offended at all, just know that these are the ones that kept coming up, and so that's why I'm sharing them with you. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump in and let me share with you some of the things that I discovered. Number one, be bold and be confident. Don't be afraid to speak your mind. Don't be afraid to share your experiences or add to the conversation or offer input or, offer your opinion. There's a reason why the phrase, with age comes wisdom exists. I'm 48 years old. I have had so many experiences in my life and I have made so many mistakes and I've learned from those mistakes, and so have you. And don't be afraid to share, your life experiences and your life's lessons with other people. There's another phrase that says, forget the mistake, remember the lesson. The fact that we are over the age of 40 means we have lived a pretty good life. We have developed opinions, we've developed ideas and thoughts about certain things. Don't be afraid to share those with other people. Be confident in who you are, be confident in what you represent, and share your experiences with other people because they might learn from them, but they can't learn from them if you don't share them, and people naturally gravitate to people who share of themselves. There's just something very inviting and welcoming about people like that. So if you want to stand out in a crowd, be somebody who's confident in their thoughts, confident in their ideas, bold enough to add to the conversation, and just be someone who's sure about who they are and what they represent, and you will automatically stand out in a crowd. Number two, smile. It's really that simple. If you want to stand out in a crowd, or if you want to be noticed for the right reasons, be quick to smile. The other day, my daughter and I were at the grocery store, and it was the day before Thanksgiving. And so it was really, really packed. There were traffic jams in the aisles and stuff like that. It just seemed like everybody was just in a sour mood, so much so that my daughter even mentioned to me that I feel like everybody's mad or that I'm in people's way. And she wasn't. She was behind the basket with me because we were trying specifically to stay out of everyone's way. But so in a situation like that, while everybody else is running around with a scowl on their face or a look of indifference, be the smile in a sea of blank faces. If somebody makes eye contact with you, be quick to smile at them. Smiles are so contagious, and people naturally gravitate to the person in the room who seems kind. There's another phrase. I'm probably going to have a phrase for everything that I talk about today. There's another phrase, and it says that a smile is the universal language of kindness. Not to say that, you should go around with a smile plastered on your face at all times, because obviously that's not going to look genuine, right? But if you, make eye contact with somebody, or if you're interacting with somebody, a teller at a bank, or, the checkout person at the grocery store, smile at them. Let them know that you're a kind person. And like I said, everyone gravitates to the kindest person in the room, even especially babies. But so if you want to be noticed for the right reasons, and if you want to stand out in a crowd, the person who looks like they are genuinely happy and who carries a smile or wears a smile and relays messages of kindness, and optimism and stuff like that, you are always going to stand out in a crowd. Number three, practice good body posture. When you practice good body posture, you automatically look more attractive, you automatically look more confident, and then the added benefit is that you actually look younger because, and this is something that's a little bit specific to an aging woman. As we age, we start to develop poor body posture. It's just a fact, it's just something that happens. One of the reasons that we develop bad body posture is just, some of the activities that we participate in day after day, year after year, sitting at a desk hunched over a computer, or sitting in your bed with your laptop on your lap, or, laying down watching TV or something like that. All of these activities promote bad body posture, and we get comfortable in bad body posture. Also, the way that we stand and the way that we walk. This one is so important. I actually did a video on anti-aging body posture because it actually does make you look younger when you practice good body posture. One of the things, especially with us women over the age of 40, we tend to stand in a position that actually feels comfortable, but it is terrible for our spine and our joints and our back and everything else. One of the things that a lot of us women do, and I catch myself doing this all the time, and I'm always correcting myself. We tend to sit back in our tailbone. I'm going to go ahead and put a picture up here to show you what I'm talking about. I do this all the time. We kind of sit back in our tailbone, and because of that, our gut comes out, and then our head kind of comes out just to kind of balance our body. And it's just, it's not very attractive. It's not as it's not totally unattractive, but it's not good for you. And it's not as attractive or as confident seeming as when you're standing with your shoulders back and your chin up and your spine straight. Whenever I did a video a few years ago on anti-aging body posture, one of the techniques that I shared with you guys was one that I read, and they said, pretend that you have a balloon above your head and a string attached to your, the top of your head, and imagine the balloon floating up and just straightening your spine, as it pulls you up, and it's so amazing to me that whenever I catch myself having bad body posture, I just did it this morning. I was like cracking eggs and I was in the worst body posture ever. And whenever I catch myself and I straighten up my spine, I am so amazed at how much movement had to take place for me to straighten my spine. That means that I have gotten in such a bad habit of standing with bad body posture. Now, the thing with poor body posture is that poor body posture does not relay confidence. As a matter of fact, it relays the opposite. It relays messages that I'm not that confident, I'm not self-assured. And so I'm wanting to slink back into myself rather than present myself to the world, So if you want to stand out in a crowd, if you want to be noticed, especially if you're in a room of all 40-plus-year-olds, and you're the one standing with good body posture, you're definitely going to be noticed because most women and men get comfortable and start to develop poor body posture as we age. But even just in the world, I have noticed, especially since I made that video, that even children, I'm always correcting my own daughter's posture sometimes, but even children get in comfortable positions, and it's just not very becoming. It's not that attractive, and it does not relay the message that I'm a confident person, I'm assertive, I'm ready to conquer the world, you know what I mean? I do want to say it's not comfortable. As a matter of fact, it's uncomfortable. It takes effort. So anyway, if you want to stand out in a crowd, practice good body posture. Number 4, take pride in your appearance. Practice self-love and self-care. All of us should be really trying to work on ourselves emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Unfortunately, the way that we represent ourselves physically plays a big role in the way that people perceive us. It is just human nature. It is what it is. And this is one of those that's kind of like a catch-22 because sometimes, if somebody puts a lot of time and effort into their appearance, you're always going to have a handful of people that are like, oh gosh, you're so vain, all you care about is your looks. But people make assumptions and develop ideas about other people based on their appearance alone. That is just human nature. So when you see a woman who looks like she's really taken the time to do her hair and put on her makeup and smell nice and wear jewelry and paint her nails and stuff like that, you're automatically going to assume that she's confident. And she probably does feel really confident, having put that much effort into her appearance. And you might also assume that she's very self-assured because, again, when you're walking out into the world knowing that you've put the time and effort to make the one representation that you have of yourself, it's your best version ever, you're automatically going to feel more confident and a little bit more self-assured. In the same way that, if you see somebody out in a crowd and they have dirt under their nails and, their hair is disheveled and they have like food in their teeth and sleep in their eyes or something like that, you're automatically going to make assumptions and develop ideas about them, just based on their appearance alone. Like I said, it's just human nature. So if you want to be noticed out in a crowd, take time, make the effort to get yourself together, put yourself together and be the best version of yourself when you walk out into the world. If you want to be noticed, if you want to stand out in a crowd. If you don't, then don't, When you think about it, like whenever you are out, in a public place, say you're at the grocery store and everybody is dressed kind of casual, grocery shopping and stuff like that. The woman who walks in, who, has her hair done and pretty jewelry on and high heels or whatever, it looks like she just got off work, your attention, she's automatically going to grab your attention because she stands out among the rest. She looks like she is her best version of herself. And there's something very attractive about that. And there's something that draws our attention to people like that. So if you want to stand out in a crowd, if you don't want to be dismissed, you don't want to become invisible after age 40, then you should really take the time to, take pride in your appearance and practice self-care and self-love. Number 5, don't be afraid to express your vulnerabilities. This was a really interesting one, and this one actually kept coming up over and over, and it was really surprising. But I feel like right now we live in a day and age where so many people are just filled with too much pride, and everybody is afraid to, express any type of insecurity or any type of, vulnerability. And I think that one of the reasons people are afraid to do that is because they're afraid that that information is going to get into the wrong hands. There are some people out there that are just unkind. They're malicious. We all know these type of people. Usually they're the trolls. And when they find out information about you, things that make you feel vulnerable or things that make you feel insecure, they will try to throw that in your face every single chance they get because they want to make you feel little, because they feel little. And so I think that's the fear whenever it comes to expressing vulnerabilities. But the reason that people who are not afraid to express their vulnerabilities and their insecurities stand out in a crowd is because people are naturally drawn to people who are transparent and authentic. And if we were all honest with ourselves, then we would all admit that there are certain things that make us feel vulnerable. There are certain things that make us feel insecure. If you say otherwise, you're pretty much a liar. Everybody has something that makes them feel vulnerable or insecure. But when you allow yourself to express, your vulnerabilities and you are completely transparent and authentic, then you leave space for other people to do the same. And I think that that's where genuine friendships and real connections are formed. People naturally gravitate to the people who they feel are genuine. So if you want to stand out in a crowd, right now, especially in this prideful world, don't be afraid to express, your vulnerabilities. As a matter of fact, sometimes when you express your vulnerabilities, it actually makes you come off as more confident because trust me, the most unconfident person in the room is not going to be expressing their vulnerabilities. They're not confident enough. They think it's only going to detract from them more. So when you do express, vulnerabilities, I think it really sends a message that you're a pretty confident person and it's okay to be vulnerable. So don't be afraid to express your vulnerabilities. Number 6, don't be afraid to march to the beat of your own drum. no matter how loud the critics are, don't let them stop you. Don't let them control you from doing whatever it is that brings you the most joy. There should always be a part of you that you just don't allow to be defined by anyone else. Don't ever trim yourself to fit the idea of what others think, you should be. The first thing that comes to my mind, because this is in my own little world, is these videos that I put out on Instagram, these little reels, dance videos, and I just get them from TikTok, they bring me so much joy and happiness. I have so much fun putting those little dances together and putting them on Instagram. When I wake up in the morning and I know that's what I'm going to be doing for the day, I know that sounds so funny, but I'm in such a good mood. Just think about it. Try putting on some really good music and dancing around and then try being in a sour mood. Like, those just do not go together. When you have on music and you're dancing and you're getting a little bit of exercise, there's definitely some cardio that you're getting in there. You're just automatically, it's such a mood lifter. Like, you're just automatically in such a good mood. But whenever I started putting those little videos on Instagram, I had my fair share of critics. There was always like a handful of people that were there for every single video, just to let me know, how cringy they thought I was, or how they thought I was too old to be behaving like that or dancing like that on Instagram. And I would have never, ever in a million years allowed them to alter, what I wanted to do, As a matter of fact, I don't even know what happened to most of my critics. I don't know if they just like died off because they're like, oh, whatever, she's just going to continue putting out these videos anyways. I'm not making a difference in her life. But the thing is that for the handful of critics that I did have, I have so many more people supporting me. And I get so many comments that say, oh my God, you seem like such a happy person. You seem like you really enjoy life. You seem like you have so much joy. And it's because I do. And because on those days when I'm making those videos, I'm in the best mood ever. And, there's also women. There are some women that follow me on Instagram that never ever miss a video and never miss an opportunity to leave me a kind message. And there's one woman that comes to mind. Her name is Karen, and she is so awesome. You can tell that she is a supporter of women. She is always the biggest cheerleader, and she's such a supporter. She's so awesome. Like, if you really want to stand out in a crowd and you want to relay messages of confidence, be somebody's cheerleader. Not only does she do that for me, I see her leaving comments on so many other women's videos on Instagram. You can tell that she's very confident in herself. So much so that she has no problem cheering other women on. But anyway, so don't be afraid to march to the beat of your own drum. You are a grown woman. And when somebody senses like your inner power and your inner confidence, that is a very attractive quality, and people are naturally drawn to it. You will automatically stand out in a crowd if you are not afraid to march to the beat of your own drum. Number 7, if you can wear your hair long, wear it long. I know that this one is going to spark some comments in the comments section, but this one actually kept coming up. And the reason that this one is specific to age is because it's uncommon. And, as we age, I think a lot of us, the reason we start cutting our hair shorter is because our hair starts to thin. I can't have long hair. When it gets past here, it starts to thin out. It starts to become sheer. It just looks awful. I just cannot grow my hair long anymore. So I have to keep it, right to there. But if you can, and if you can grow your hair long and have long, thick, healthy looking hair, you should definitely do it, and you will always stand out in a crowd, literally no matter what age you are, whether you're 4, whether you're 14, 24, 34, 44, 54, all the way up. If you have long, beautiful, thick, healthy hair, you are always going to stand out in a crowd. The first person that comes to mind, obviously, if you're here on YouTube, then you probably already know who I'm going to say, but it's Tammy from Tammy's Ageless Beauty. Her hair is literally to die for. Women spend thousands of dollars to get hair extensions, to have hair that looks similar to how her hair naturally grows on her head. So it always blows my mind when I've heard her say before that people will tell her that she should cut her hair. I'm like, who is telling you what? Like, I can never imagine. There's nobody that wouldn't want to trade places with her. I mean, maybe there is. I would find it very hard to believe that there's not a woman alive that wouldn't want to trade places with her beautiful hair. But she's always going to stand out in a crowd, especially among the women over age 40, because it becomes so difficult for women over the age of 40 to have beautiful, thick, long hair. You can have long hair. A lot of women, I could have long hair if I wanted to, but it would look really stringy, look really awful. Another woman who comes to mind here on YouTube is Lisa. She has long, thick, beautiful hair. It is so uncommon. It's so, those two ladies together in a crowd are always going to be noticed, or even if they're separate in a crowd, are always going to be noticed just because their hair is so long and healthy looking. Just like I said, it doesn't matter how old you are, you know, long, thick, beautiful hair. It's very feminine. It's very beautiful. If it's really thick and healthy looking, then it's actually, since that's a sign of youth, it can actually make you look younger. So anyway, that was just another one that kept coming up. If you can grow your hair out long, grow it long and wear it long, and you will always get noticed in a crowd. Okay, number 8 is watch your weight and work on retaining muscle tone. Now, this is the only one that I worry, you know, that it might rub people the wrong way. Again, I'm only the messenger. I didn't come up with these, you know, on my own. This one kept coming up, and one of the reasons is because it's uncommon after the age of 40. You know, as we age, it becomes a lot harder to, you know, keep the weight off. You know, hormones play a role in that. Having children, you know, our metabolism slows down as we age. You know, there's a lot of factors that contribute to putting on weight, you know, year after year. Whenever I was in college, I took this food and nutrition class. And one of the things that we learned was that after age 20, women tend to put on anywhere between 5 and 15 pounds every decade and keep it on comfortably. So that by the time most women are 50 years old, most of us are carrying around about 30 extra pounds. And that's something that's very typical, that it's very, very common. Another thing is muscle tone. It becomes a lot harder to gain muscle tone and to keep muscle tone. But in addition, we naturally lose, for women, it's 3 to 5% of lean muscle mass. We lose that every decade after the age of 30. For men, I think it's 30% overall that they end up losing. But so because of that, because we have less lean muscle naturally, that's going to slow down our metabolism. So we're going to, you know, burn calories less effectively. So it becomes a little bit harder for us to, you know, keep the weight off. And so, but as far as muscle tone, it just becomes so hard to build muscle tone and keep it on. I know for sure that whenever I was young, I've always worked out at home. You know, I've always been somebody to always do home workouts. When I was in high school and when I was in my 20s and 30s even, I could get away with doing 4 sets of 10 lunges on each leg, so 40 lunges per leg every day, and I would keep my legs nice and toned. It was so easy, and my butt too. I could never get away with that now. Never. I have had to add so much more to my workouts just to keep semi-toned. I'm still not happy with my lower half. I mean, I'm always thinking my legs there's always room for improvement in my legs. And it just becomes harder, you know? And so I think because of that, because it becomes harder to keep the weight off and because it becomes harder to gain and retain muscle tone, that's why women over the age of 40 who can do that and who have managed to do that, they will automatically stand out in a crowd. But as a matter of fact, I think that just in general, you know, in the world, no matter how old you are, when somebody is really physically fit, they just naturally stand out to us. You know, we all know that there's a lot of sacrifice, a lot of determination and dedication and discipline and consistency, you know, that goes into keeping a really fit physique. And because of that, it's uncommon. Because of that, and because it's uncommon, those people tend to stand out in a crowd to us. But I think at the end of the day, I think that when we just try to be the best versions of ourselves, you know, physically, emotionally, mentally, you know, in all the areas of our lives, then we're just naturally going to stand out, you know, in a crowd, because obviously we're going to exude confidence. We're going to be a lot more sure of ourselves. You know, we're just going to feel good in our skin and everything else. You know, all of these things that I talked about today, most of them, you know, just naturally just make you feel better about who you are as a person, you know? And so that is always an attractive quality, and those qualities are always noticed, you know, in a crowd. So that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I enjoyed making it. I enjoyed just researching the information. It was just really, really entertaining to me. So anyway, thank you so much for spending time with me. Anytime you hit the play button and spend some time with me, it just really means the world to me. So I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend, and hopefully I will see you back here next week.